Because some were more so a result of ambition than as a result, in my opinion, for the love of the nation.
When you say ambition, kindly just let me know what, in your opinion, this ambition is.
The ambition, I believe, from the beginning, right? His ambition was to become, to be honest, the best he can be, to push the envelope until he sees where he can reach.
Okay.
Which is all what you're supposed to do, everybody. And he was to become, he wanted to become the president of the Republic of Kenya.
Right.
Right. But the problem was, in the pursuit of these presidential ambitions, he developed a lot of inconsistencies within himself. He's fighting for this today, tomorrow he's fighting for that, right? Whereas in terms of courage, a courageous man would have consistency in terms of character, in terms of belief, in terms of principles and values.
Okay.
Right? Mandela from the start to the end. Mahatma Gandhi from the start to the end. Martin Luther from the start to the end. There was at no point where he would, you accept tyranny and then you're okay.
Mandela was in prison for 27 years. The fighting was being taken on his behalf. And Mahatma Gandhi was a pacifist, but there was a whole movement of the country of India that was behind his particular thinking. Your analysis seems to say that, in fact, if you ask me, I'm listening to it, that Raila actually had a plan. If I'm listening to what you just said,
yes,
that he actually understood the consequences of what he was doing, and he was willing to take the step in that particular direction.
I struggle.
Mokai, you have something you want to say?
I struggle. We'll wait and see how many people will be as magnanimous, self-sacrificially and messianic as Raila Odinga that we have.
Now, Harsha, let me ask you, has Raila's life impacted you in any way whatsoever, politically or otherwise?
As a Kenyan, you cannot escape who Raila Odinga is. The mention of his name already ignites emotions and ideas, both positive and negative. He's a great man, right? I want to mention one of the things I admire about Raila in terms of bravery now. When he went to Germany, he did his thing. He got, I think, and some knowledge of welding. When he came back, he came...
Pause.
Engineering.
Pause. Where did you get this?
I got it from online. I won't lie. Okay, so this is
Did you verify that information?
The information that I have...
What information is this that he needs to verify?
The welding certificate.
Raila is a welder.
Argument.
Are we saying that he doesn't know how to weld?
No. My question is very specific.
Yes.
Where did he get the information from? Because there are many things Raila studied when he was in Germany. And you're saying he studied welding. What? Okay,
so there's a follow-up to this welding, right, that I'm arguing. He came back, he started the Spectre International, right? That's welding, not welding, but putting together LPG gas cylinders, right?
They're welded together, actually.
They're welded together. So his knowledge of that, whether it's a certificate or engineering course or whatever, he put it into good use, into a business use, and he moved with it, right? And he succeeded very, very well, right? So that's one of the things I like about him. I like that during his political life, he changed the country a lot. I like that during his political life, he changed the country a lot, right? The intention is what I usually argue about, right? Because you can change because you want Kenya to become better.
Yes.
You can change things because you are ambitious and you want a higher position than you had. So my main problem with most political players in Kenya is that the change that they bring about is more so in tune to some higher ambition for themselves. I usually say, you don't hate the oppressor, you don't hate oppression. What you want to become the oppressor. You're just an oppressor in waiting. That's usually what I think about most Kenyan politicians. And I know guys will argue a lot about that, right? Because he's been on the opposite space a lot. But the reality is, when he got the chance to get into government, there are things that he did not oppose. There are things that he did not push hard.
Such as?
Such as, for example, when Raila was outside government, the first time I knew about the NYS scandal, that was Raila. The first time there was another scandal, that was Atur brothers when they came, that was Raila.
Yes.
He really went hard on the government at that time.
Actually, that's the first time I heard of the word mercenaries.
Exactly. And you're looking at these guys, you don't know them.
Yes.
And then the drug deals, they're so, it was just, the country's going.
Okay.
It's just going. And then when you look at the recent Gen Z protests, right? The murders that are occurring, the people that are being picked up from the quarry dump site, right? And you know that if he was in the opposition, he would really push hard against this, right?
Okay.
He would actually call for the government to resign. He would actually be pushing, get out of government.
He would
motion of
basically
vote
hold them to account.
to the highest extent possible. But then he would not do that when he is in government.
Okay. All right. And again, Nahash, and I'll still start with you. How do you think now it's going to shape the politics of young people, whether Gen Z, Gen X? What's going to happen now?
I believe, just like when a tree falls, or when a wildlife, an animal falls, it nourishes the earth.
The earth, yes.
Right? And it brings about a new renewal. Or when there's fire and it cuts down everything.
There's a rebirth, yes.
There will be, I think we're entering into one of the greatest phases in Kenyan history. There will be a renaissance, right? A very big one. And I believe it will start in his backyard. I believe that there will be a newfound level of freedom for the youth to speak, for the youth to rebel, and for the youth to grow, to have their own voice.
Yes.
Not strings being played about. They will no longer need to, to cower to the big boys, right?
Okay.
Now it will be a free for all. Okay. Everybody will fight for their own space. And I believe it's coming. It's already here. Yeah. And I believe that one of the people who lead that charge,
yes,
I believe Babu Owino, he has the ODM youth.
Okay.
And he's going to push, because that's his main constituency.
Yes.
And he's going to push it to increase his negotiating power.
But he's not the only person who has the ODM youth, is he?
He has a significant portion of the ODM youth. And he has...
And these youth, where are they exactly?
The youth, actually, the funny thing about that is he's not so much in tune like a tribal person, right? He's more so like the Sonko type, right? Where, of course, he has his main base, but he appeals generally to everybody. And Sifuna also appeals generally to everyone. What people loved about Raila, right? And I think he lost that after some point, or some of his handlers lost that.
To whom?
Let me just give an example of the Romans.
Okay.
Right? When you win a battle, right, you are given a triumph, and you're given a triumphal arc. But there's somebody who's behind you, and who's whispering to you, remember you're a man. Remember you're a man. You're not a god, right? So sometimes we lose ourselves to the aura of politics or something. And that, I believe they loved him because he rebelled against the system.
Okay.
We are not happy with the system.
Who's we?
Generally, young Kenyan adults.
Okay.
Nobody is happy with the system. And we're looking for someone to lead us, not in form of a formal rebellion.
Yes.
But in terms of we want a new political start. And that is what is coming.
Yeah. All right.
When it comes to the youth, I believe you've already said that there are people who, when it came to Raila, they got into power because of Raila phobia, others because of Raila mania. Now that's gone. Now
has it gone really?
It's reduced. Let's say it's reduced, right? It's to sustain Raila was an enigma. Agwambo, it means mystery, right? Now that he has gone, there's nobody else who's picking the shoes.
Really ever go away? There's somebody who the Muslims talk a great deal about. He's called Muhammad. That guy died a really long time ago. Then there's another fellow called Jesus, whom Christians have wonderful things to say about. That fellow died even much longer ago, and he's still spoken of. If I bring it to modern time, there's a guy called Mao in China. Oh man, that guy died such a long time ago. When people die, there is the thought process and the thinking that what they stood for dies. To the contrary, sometimes what they stood for now really comes alive. And it's even stronger than when they were alive.
Do you want to include Gor Mahia into that narrative?
Okay,
so that it's a parastatal.
Just an example of that. I believe when like Jesus, Mohammed, and Mao.
You know, I hadn't actually finished. Let me just mention two more. Dedan Kimathi died a very long time ago.
Yes.
Have we stopped talking about him?
No.
You see, my point is, there are certain types of leaders who don't really die.
Yes.
Please, now you can go on.
So
I think, sorry, allow me to just interject kidogo. I think what Nahashon means here is that fact that sasa hii historia ya kujitetea na Raila going forward, kidogo, hiyo impact itakuwa imeisha.
And I'm trying to tell you that what you're saying is not true.
Because in Kenyan politics, forget religion. In Kenyan politics, sasa huwezi jitetea na Raila going forward.
No, you can't. There are many people who still can. I'm trying to get you to understand that when certain people represent a certain image, it stays. Jomo Kenyatta died God knows when.
Nani anajiteteanga na Jomo Kenyatta?
His son tetered with it. It works for him and also against him.
Okay. Let me try and phrase it this way.
Yes.
Right? You know, when Muhammad died, when
Jesus,
when he had gone, right? What happened was what they left behind. They left behind certain values, certain principles that define our society up to today, right? Those values and principles were consistent, most of them, throughout time, right? Like what Jesus taught back then, 2,000 years ago, is still relevant to us today. How he taught it and how he lived is still relevant to us today, right? The problem with Raila Odinga, in my opinion, right, was that there was a certain level of inconsistency in what he fought for and his values, right? So what would live after him would not be his inconsistencies.
Let's talk about the inconsistencies. What are they?
Okay. In one section, right, you're fighting against corruption. On the other hand, you're joining the corrupt government. One hand, you're fighting against, wastage of government resources. On the other hand, you're here propagating BBI, right? One hand, you're fighting against injustices, right? People dying, freedom of speech. 1992, you really suffered for that. And on this other hand, you're seeing people being picked from the quarry, and you're still in that government. That's a bit of inconsistency. So what would be left behind, in my opinion, because you never really go away, would be the material resources that you had. For example, Jomo Kenyatta left behind significant material resources that Uhuru Kenyatta was able to latch on and connections and use, right? But in terms of value sets, nothing was left behind. When it comes to the political landscape in Kenya today, right? The amount of political connections that Raila left behind, he has not left an heir apparent, which means that, in my opinion, there'll be a fallout within ODM. When it comes to the political landscape in Kenya today, right, the amount of political connections that Raila left behind, he has not left an heir apparent, which means that, in my opinion, there'll be a fallout within ODM. So that's one of his problems.
We don't have a monarchy in this country, do we? Must he leave an heir apparent?
I actually believe that in Kenya, what the system that we follow, let me try and give this example, right? When Jimmy Carter died, the daughter of Jimmy Carter, whatever Jimmy Carter, nobody was announced they are going to join government, right? Or going to get a position in government, right? Now that Raila Odinga has left us, right? There are expectations, right? From the public, I think, generally. I've just seen it on social media. But expectations that somebody is going to be given a position. We take care of their family. It does not happen in America. The only time where
it actually does, but go on.
Okay, to a lower scale. what happens?
How did you have two Bushes being presidents if that doesn't happen?
Two Bushes being president.
But the Bush senior did not necessarily endorse his son.
He did, yeah.
But there was capital that Bush.
My friend,
Jr.
do you really think that if George Bush Jr. his father had not been president, that he would have had an easy time becoming president? Do you really think so?
No, what I'm saying is, it's not like that when George Bush Senior was leaving the presidency, he said, "And here thou, my son, shall be the next president of America."
And where is it said? Look, the history of this country, if you look at how we choose our leaders, there are many people who owed Jomo Kenyatta a huge favor. And many of them returned the favor in many ways.
President May being one of them.
Kibaki being another. All right? The political inheritance that we speak of exists, okay, but not in quite the same way that you think that someone's child of necessity must be the person who follows through. You know, when we speak of a government like this one of William Ruto's, this government has received a lot of flack, and rightfully so, because they raised the bar when they made promises and documented them, so people can actually quote those promises and hold them to account for it. But they're not the only government in which people have died. The Uhuru government, people died. That's why we're fishing people from the Yala River.
And that's true.
Every government that we've had in this country has had issues, and Kenyans have died in large numbers. This government seems to have had a rather direct focus from very many people or certain quarters where it's like there's nothing these guys can do right. People who speak have never walked in Raila's shoes, so they do not know what it is that leads him to do the things he did. They were not jailed. They were not detained. They didn't have their family being followed by police. They didn't have their family being harassed by the security services. They have not walked in his shoes, so they do not know what it is that he went through and saw and why it is he does what he does. But this is what we need to seek to understand. As we see it and as we pronounce it, let's try and see and understand, why did this person do this thing really? Why? Because we can see it. But why?
Yeah, so I have a different argument when it comes to suffering. I believe that we can suffer for the good of man, right? And we can suffer for the wrong things. Or we can suffer when our intentions are not right. And it's the reality of human life, such that somebody can go through a lot of pains, but the end objective was not sincere. Yet he's going through a lot
How
of
do you align
pains.
that with Raila's life?
So what I do, you have to look at the true character of a man at times, right? Is seen, how do they usually say it? You know the true character of a man when he has money, right? You know the true character of a woman when she does she has nothing. I think it's just a common, saying on the streets. So when a man is in power, when a man can exercise power over you, that's when you see his true character, right? When he's in a position of influence, not when he's fighting against it, because he could be fighting against it because he wants to be at a certain level. When he gains it or when he's close to it, that's when you know who he really is, right? So when Raila suffered or endured a lot of pains, right, it is not only important to look at the results of it, because there was a lot of good that happened for the nation because of what he went through, right? You cannot take it away from him. But his intention would tell you what he would become.
And how would you read and understand his intention? For
example, if let's say today somebody comes on with a car and then he splashes me, I'm walking on the streets, and then I'm angry. Or let me just use high school. High school, there was people who are being bullied when they were young, right? Form 1, a lot of bullying. When they go to Form 4, that's when you know their true character. Because they would argue against the bullying, they would say this is not right.
Then in Form 4 they bully.
In Form 4 they used to beat people up.
It's like the Israelis and the Palestinians.
Gentlemen, we have come to the end of the show. I'll give you 10 seconds each, like literally 10 seconds. Last words. Nashon, start with you.
speak the truth even when it hurts.